welcome to day 3. It's great to see all these faces. Thank you all for sticking with us through these 3 days. We got some feedback from JB's and Thomas's presentations. Number one is, this is great. This is the message that we need our leadership to hear. The other part of that feedback was, but what's the advice you can give to those of us in the trenches? So this presentation is for you. I have 57 slides in 30 minutes. So buckle up, arms and legs in the vehicle at all times. We're going to go pretty fast. I've got one eye on the slides, one eye on the clock, and one eye on you. Yeah, that's 3 eyes. Okay, so JB shared this slide. Thomas shared this slide. This is a UFC ring, and there's 2 contenders in this ring, okay? There are the incumbents. How does it feel to be called an incumbent? Kind of interesting characterization. And then there are the challengers. We've seen this cage match before. We've seen it play out over the past 25 years. This is SaaS coming after the traditional tech companies. And I think probably every single hardware company in the room right now is looking around to see where their SaaS counterparts are and saying, not so funny, is it? How's it feel now? So this is a battle that's going to play out not in decades, not in years. This is moving fast. This is moving fast. We're going to give you some playbooks, some frameworks, some insights that you can take back and start to work on right now. And we're going to work with you over the next months, and we're going to start to document and fortify and reinforce every single framework for every single service area for each one of you. Now, this presentation really has 2 parts to it. We're going to talk about offers, and we're going to talk about operations in the era of AI. This, we believe, is going to be an incredibly rich era for services. We're going to talk about 3 new categories of these services offers, and they are AI readiness and governance services, value optimization services, and outcome-oriented AI services. We started talking about outcome-based services in 2013. So here we are over a decade later, and we're finally starting to see the realization of some of these outcome-oriented services taking a foothold. So what are these services? AI readiness and governance services. Most of your customers have no idea where to employ AI. They have no idea if they're ready to employ AI in their organizations. These sound and feel a lot like professional services, but they're incredibly rich and incredibly valuable. It's all of the consultation and the design services for AI. It's all of the AI readiness, the data insights, and the data frameworks, and the data infrastructure. It's making sure that you're employing it to meet all of the regulations and the privacy and the security issues. And then also making sure that talent is ready. Every single AI native company is actively giving away free training to the industry to get ready for AI. The next category of services is value optimization services. These solutions are not set and forget. They're constantly evolving, living, and breathing solutions. And it requires end-to-end ongoing optimization. Sounds and feels a lot like managed services. And the last one, as I mentioned, is outcome-oriented services, based on value anchors. You heard Mari talk about verticalization, understanding your customers deeply and knowing how they're employing these technology solutions to get business results. And we believe that's leading to the greatest migration of tech services. And it looks a little bit like this. No service line is immune from the disruptions of AI. There are traditional services today that we're monetizing that we believe are incredibly valuable for our customers. And AI is eating every single one of those one by one. But they're being replaced by these AI services in offers and in operations. I want to take a second to give an example of one of the challengers and how they're viewing services, okay? We saw in the SaaS era, and we even saw it in the traditional technology era, that services were often an afterthought. It's something that we do, it's an evil necessity so that we can sell more hardware, more software licenses. This is OpenAI's services story. Okay, so OpenAI this year will have a $2 billion professional services business. And they don't care about silos. They don't care about where's the professional services revenue, where's the support services revenue, where's the managed services revenue, where's the education services revenue. They've got one bucket of services and they call it professional services. Take a look at what they're expecting next year in professional services. $30 billion. 30% of OpenAI's revenue next year is expected to be professional services. That's insane. So let's break these down. Let's talk about professional services. These are all the services today that are required to employ technology solutions. Time-based billing, basic data integration, project-based services. These are starting to be eaten right now by these more advanced professional services, like I just talked about. What are the outcomes that you can unlock for your customer? How do you engineer a solution for them? Again, your customers don't even know. They don't even understand. They're reading stories in the trade publications about what's possible with AI, but they really have no idea how to practically implement it. So a lot of these strategy solutions, data readiness, like I mentioned before. Let me talk about another example. Here's another challenger, which is Palantir, the FDE model. I heard a lot of conversations like, isn't that just professional services? Aren't these just the same types of people that do design? They're not. They're engineers. They're like DevOps meets professional services consultants, meets programmers, meets managed services business development managers. They understand the customer better than the customer understands themselves. And here are some of their results. $30 million improvement for Trinity Rail in improved OI. Associated Materials, 90% improvement in increased on-time delivery rates. General Mills, $14 million saved annually. A global bank, 60% faster alert resolution with a 90% lower cost. Those are measurable business outcomes, and that's how they price their professional services, because they know they can improve those outcomes. Here's another one, education services. This is one of the first services that we started to see AI eat rapidly into. We had a great case study about a year and a half ago on open text and Learn Experts. In less than a year, they reduced the cost to develop content by 60%, okay? But there are additional education services offers. Human AI readiness, capabilities, getting your organization ready, getting your customers' organizations ready for AI. And here's one of my favorite ones, personalized journeys. Having the solutions actually understand the student and adjust accordingly. And it's coming for class-based education services. Let me give you another example of someone that's implementing AI in education services right now. Great case study from Databricks and Uplimit on redefining their ES organization. AI tutors, like I just mentioned, providing feedback for the educated individual as they go through their education journey. Reducing instructor time. Hands-on scalable labs, so they can create these digital twins and actually employed training models and infrastructure and applications for those that they're educating. So they get to individually experiment themselves in those lab environments. Here's some of the results that we see for Databricks and Uplimit. 94% course completion rate. That's a 3x improvement in course completion. 75% reduction in live training, and 91% immediate on-job impact. Let's go on to support services. This is the one where we see massive impacts as well for cost reduction. Level 1, level 3, and everything in between. Is that going to exist going forward? Are we going to be able to survive on our basic support services offers? Very concerned about support services if they don't move up the ladder in value. And I think we're going to finally see proactive incident resolution in support services, outcome-based offers, being much more focused around risk assessments for customers. So again, moving up the value ladder in support services. Here's one of my favorite stories. This isn't just a professional services story. This is Palo Alto, dog fooding flywheel. So rather than creating AI solutions and offers that they would take to their customers, they said, we're going to first experiment internally. We're going to see if we get the benefits from these AI solutions before we put them on our customers. They used it to solve internal problems, they used it to gain real-world insights, and to commercialize those solutions after they proved the benefits. So here are their own results internally within their support organizations and other areas of the business. 60% autonomous ticket resolution, HR tickets, IT tickets, finance tickets, 20 to 30% developer productivity gain, 89% zero incident reduction, 89,000 zero incident production changes, and 3.5 million in cost reduction. Let's move on to field services. Field services is also being eaten by AI. Reactive triage and dispatch today, showing up with a bunch of parts, hoping that you've got the right part on the truck to resolve the problem, being eaten with predictive and proactive dispatch, dynamic scheduling of the right agent to the right customer premises with the right solution at the right time, leveraging technologies like augmented and virtual reality to resolve issues. Here's another case study, EchoStar. Intelligent automation, enhanced mobility, and mixed reality. $33 million return on investment, 40% increase for dispatchers, 14% increase in technician productivity, and 12% reduction in second visits. Pretty compelling. The next one that we've got, managed services, cognitive orchestration at scale. I saw a presentation from IBM a couple of years ago where they started to talk about cognitive IT operations, moving managed services away from reactive. So something bad happened, and hopefully we could fix it before the customer even understands that it's broken. Moving towards this cognitive orchestration with real-time dynamic insights and business intelligence. Not just we fixed this problem, but here's the business impact that we helped avoid by using these solutions. And that's leading to a rise in these AI-native MSPs. This one's pretty scary and pretty compelling at the same time. Provectus has a very cool solution. They know that the customers are not able to implement these machine learning solutions themselves. Again, like I said, we all know our customers aren't exactly ready for AI. So they'll go in and say, hey, you don't have machine learning capabilities, you have data scientists, we'll set up that environment for you. We'll manage it for you. And then they say, oh, look, you're struggling with that machine learning situation. Why don't you let us take over all of your machine learning? We'll provide the data science. We'll provide the analytics for your business. Oh, you're struggling with implementing the infrastructure for that as well. You don't have the data center readiness for it. Well, we'll actually go ahead and do all of the consultation, all of the design of the solution, the implementation, the integration into your operating environment, and we'll manage the end-to-end solution for you, complete AI as a service for their customers. And again, some pretty compelling results. So as we're looking at each one of these, it reminds me of JB's slide where he talked about the MIT study. Right? 95% of organizations are failing to achieve an ROI. And we're seeing case after case of companies realizing tremendous benefits. 50% reduction in time to audit for an insurance agency, 70% improvement in human customer service. So for the organizations that say, we still want our engineers to talk to customers, cool. We're gonna make those engineers, we're gonna supercharge them with AI capabilities. 4.2 million reduction in cost for for an oil drilling company. Pretty compelling as well. 40% improvement in streaming user retention. One of their customers is a streaming music company. Each one of these is very verticalized. Think again back to the micro-verticalization. Last but not least is customer success. Customer success has been focused on trying to understand customer health issues as long as customer success has existed. And then every quarter they'll get there with their customer and say, hey, here's what happened over the past 3 months. And customer success is a very task-oriented solution today, very task-oriented service. And we're seeing AI rapidly eat through all of those services, becoming a predictive consumption analytics provider. So not only here's the stuff you're consuming, but here's the stuff you're probably about to consume next. And here's the stuff you're not consuming, and the customers that are consuming those capabilities have a 37% improvement in operational efficiency. Custom adoption playbooks, making it feel very personalized for the customer rather than a rinse and repeat with value realization consulting. Yes, we're going to turn our CSMs into business consultants for our customers. And here's another great story. I did a podcast with Tony Colon from ServiceNow. If you're not familiar with ServiceNow Impact, I encourage you to check it out. Go watch some of the videos on it on YouTube. I didn't know what it was until I had a conversation with Tony, where they're actually using technology, again, AI-based technology, to supercharge their CSMs so that they can provide that proactive guidance, platform health and information about not just the technology, but the business impacts and value management. That's led to, for their customers, a 21% decrease in time to value. We want to accelerate the time to value for our customers. 24% increase in the solution value. 10% increase in NPS for the customers using ServiceNow Impact, and a 12% increase in productivity. Again, pretty compelling use cases. You don't have to look hard to find all of these scenarios where customers are getting a real return on their investment using AI. So, all of this is unfolding in front of us right now in real time. This is an eye chart that I'm obviously not going to read every line on it. And you're going to get these slides as part of the presentation. But we can see in service area after service area that AI is eating through all of these capabilities, moving from the human-first delivery into an AI-first delivery. We want you all to understand that the TSIA, there's never been a better time to be a TSIA researcher. The access to information, the speed at which we can gather information, and the amount of activity that's happening in the industry is incredible. And every one of the research executives is working fast and furious to document all of these case studies, to build these frameworks for you. In fact, we've already published, now it's over 250 AI best practice publications. We have over 50 frameworks specifically on how you employ AI in your technology services businesses. We have AI-centric advisory activities to help really make sure that your organizations are understanding what's possible with AI in their service areas. But there are two assertions we're making. AI is, again, changing. Yes, PS is still going to be there. CS is still going to be there. Education services is still going to be there. But the customer engagement and the way we employ those services is absolutely changing. So we're all familiar with LAER. Many organizations are still trying to implement the land, adopt, expand, and renew framework from TSIA. In fact, we published that in 2013 with B4B. Companies are still trying to employ that capability, but it's not enough. That results in the new framework, which is DARE. Design, starting with design. Before you even consider what technology you're going to sell to the customer, forget about the customer telling you what they want. Focus on what they need. Again, consultation and design, that comes first. Customers are going to fail in AI if they don't have the right consultation and design services up front. Then you activate these solutions. You turn them on in their environments. And this is when your customer, the person you're working with directly to employ these solutions, has their first wow moment. They go, holy crap, I heard AI was going to do amazing things. I'm seeing it for myself. And then you start to drive the realization of the value throughout the customer engagement. This is where the CFO has their OMG moment. Holy crap, I didn't think it was possible either, but now look at these results that we're getting from employing these AI solutions. And then you continually close that value loop with the customer. But like I said, these solutions, they're like living and breathing solutions. They're like environments that are going to constantly change. You're going to have data model drifting. You're going to have other challenges in the operating environment. and you're not going to stay static. You're going to continue to implement next AI capability after the next one for the customers, and that's going to lead to dramatic growth and expansion in your relationships with your customers. But to do that, here's another framework: the value assurance loop. So Thomas and Hal Stanley wrote this great paper on this framework to remind us that we can't just promise great things are going to happen in the brochures of our products, right? Every one of us reads our product brochures and all of these promises of great things that are going to happen, this kind of reduction in cost, this kind of improvement in customer engagement. And do we really know if we're actually delivering those results? AI is going to require us to constantly, throughout the engagement, demonstrate value. In pre-sale, demonstrating what's possible. In onboarding, showing very fast results in a short period of time. And ongoing, nurturing that customer, and each time closing that loop. And at renewal, it's not about, hey, please renew with us. We promise in the next renewal, great things are going to happen. But actually demonstrating to them at that point what would happen if they didn't have an engagement with you, if they didn't have a relationship with you. But to do that, you have to focus on value anchors. What are the measurable business outcomes that you know for a fact? You have demonstrated proof with other customers where you can drive and increase value. Link those solution capabilities to customer impact. And addressing the customer's pain. Customers will pay a premium for pain medications. They'll go to Walmart for vitamins, but they go to the doctor to relieve the pain. That's the kind of relationship you want with your customer. Demonstrating long-term continual value. Okay? Next one, next point of view, next assertion that we're making is that the service organizations are not built for this. We're having a conversation about this with the research team a few weeks ago about all of these changes and all of these impacts from AI on the technology services businesses. And Janice Lee, who heads up our education services research, she said, you know what this feels like? I was just watching the movie Twisters, where there's this big giant tornado coming into town, this little Main Street town. And everybody says, get everybody to the theater and get in the basement of the theater so that we could be protected. So everybody runs to the theater, and they get there and they say, where's the basement? There was no basement, right? So we're not built for this storm that's coming at us. Services organizations and structures are going to be guided by two principles going forward: the resources required to deliver those services, the people, the processes, and the resources that define the best practices across all company solutions, value engineering. So when we look at organizations today, or historically, they've looked a lot like this, right? We have our silos in our business. We love our silos. We've got our professional services teams and their engineers and their consultants. And we've got our ES organization and their people. And we've got our support services team and our service desks and advanced engineers and knowledge management capabilities. We've got our managed services organization with a lot of those similar capabilities. And we have CS organizations. And in 2020, we wrote a paper called The Big C in Customer Success and the Case for Services Convergence. And everyone said, you're right. We have to change the organization structure. So this is what it looked like before. And in some cases, this is what it looks like now. Yes, we've got services convergence. All you did, for many of you, was centralize your offer management teams, but we still have these silos and these stacks where it fractures the relationship with our customer and the experience that they have. Many of us have these for each individual product and business unit as well. What's the problem with this? This is somewhat service convergence, because that offering team. Well, here's all of the redundancy that we have in the organization today. Everything that's colored is something that is very similar, some cases identical, to what's sitting in another services pillar. I'd assert that that cannot stand. So there's a couple of things that are going to have to change in these organizations going forward. Do we know exactly what this looks like? This is unfolding right before our eyes, but we do see evidence. We do see some members that are already actively employing true services convergence across the board. How do they do it? They start with value engineering. Imagine if we just blew up our product management team, and we blew up our services offer management team, and we reconstructed a value engineering office that understands how we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, that understands the value that we can deliver for our customers, the capabilities and the KPIs that we know that we can improve for them. And then they ideate the solution, the complete offer, all of the technology and all of the services required to deliver, focused on those value anchors, focused on experience orchestration. So no matter what product they buy from you, and no matter what service they buy from you, they have a consistent experience. And then continuing to monitor that value through the entire customer relationship. That's the first thing that organizations have to employ. And that's leading to the creation of these services pods, where for that particular product or for that particular service, we combine the right resources required to deliver the outcomes that we promised in our brochures. That's the first step. Again, this is going to be for specific products and for specific verticals. It doesn't mean professional services engineers go away. It doesn't mean that today you're a support engineer, but on this next project you're a professional services engineer. It means aligning and orchestrating those functions to deliver the outcomes that are promised in those value anchors. Second step, services centers of excellence. There's only one best practice for any particular service capability. That's why it's called a best practice. But we see many organizations that say, well, in this team, we do it this way. Well, we're debating, we think in this organization, we should do it a little bit of a different way. We've heard the phrase centers of excellence probably for about 25, 35 years. These are different. These are the organizations that define all of the processes for how we implement these solutions, how we integrate them, how we activate them. All of the resources that are required, powered by AI for the right resources to the right activity at the right time. Customer insights and analytics, and AI automation and DevOps. So these are the functions that make sure that all of the other pods are following the best practices. There are practices and processes that those pods cannot opt out of. All of that underpinned by a platform that is purpose-built for customer experience. It's AI-powered, a centralized platform that enables centralized services and processes that power all of these product and vertical pods. That, we believe, is the organization of the future. Okay. We went through that pretty fast, I know. So what I want to leave with you are a few more thoughts. 3 calls to action. These are not optional. Everyone in this room has to go back and identify the services that AI and technology will automate. Your CFO is going to require it. Where can we take cost out of the business? Remember these half sentences? So that we could take those dollars and invest them in the other capabilities that we need. No one is going to give you a blank check to go invest in these new AI capabilities. That's number 1. Second, establish a value engineering function. No longer optional. What is the value you know you can deliver that then will define the next gen services that will replace the existing services? It's going to happen. And the third one, we debated over this sentence. Originally it was, be prepared to blow up your organizations. That sounds a little scary. Be prepared to break your organization models and rebuild them, purpose-built around driving value and outcomes for your customers. It's going to require a lot of change that's not optional. So Socrates says, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. When you leave here, your job is going to be an evangelist. An evangelist goes and convinces others to be believers, and works hard on converting those believers to be evangelists so that they can go encourage new believers. Okay? So your role is an evangelist when you leave here, because we believe that this is not the end of services. We believe, and the challengers believe, this is the era of services, and it's yours to lose. It's your move. Fortune favors the bold. All right, take care, folks.